Commissioner Stone, we're ready to get started. Are you ready?
Yes, yes. Okay, I want to welcome everyone to the March 12th Financial Services Committee. And Ms. Massimo, I'm sorry, I can't remember whether you said that someone else would be presenting on the behalf of Ms. Cutter today. Is that correct?
No, ma'am. Ms. Cutter is here, and she will be presenting today, followed by Mr. Sanders on the administrative services portion of our agenda.
Wonderful. Okay. Well, then I don't have an actual agenda printout, so I've just got the report.
If you'd like, Director, I'm glad to go ahead and turn it over to Ms. Cutter to start the Finance and Compliance Services presentation, and ask any questions, of course, along the presentation as you have. I'll turn it over to our CFO, Stephanie Cutter.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, committee members, Chairman Stone, Dr. Robinson.
Good afternoon.
Director Taylor, public at large, colleagues. I'll be going over the financial services portion in preparation for board meeting. The first slide represents, it gives a comparison of July 1 through the end of February to date. When you look at February in comparison to January, the operating account is slightly up, the grant account is slightly up, and the reserve account, the investment account is slightly up. The operating account balance, the unreconciled balance, is $12.2 million. The unreconciled grant balance is $5.5 million, and our Georgia One investment account is $8.3 million.
Great. That's healthy.
It is. This is just a summary of the investment account at the end of January. The amount was $8,331,936. Our interest for the month was $35,710, slightly down from January, not much. And the balance at the end of February, $8,367,646.
Okay.
This is a comparison of our transit tax revenue from August through February. At the end of, for the month of February, we took in $154,236. The amount for January was $261,450. Nothing unusual. These numbers are based upon tax collection, so we expect it to be down in the next few months. The other chart graphic shows our Georgia One Fund monthly interest earnings, and as you can see, in comparison to January 24, the earnings was $37,932, and for the month of February, slightly down at $35,710. A breakdown of the tax receipts by category: real property, personal property, mobile homes, tag, other, for a total of $154,236 in collections for the month of February. This is our projected end of the month cash balance. As the graph shows, for the month of February, the unreconciled balance was $12,273,222. We project revenue trending downwards up until the month of June. The tax bills go out in April, and taxpayers begin to pay in late May and in June. And that should be reflected in our cash balance at the end of the month. This is our grant activity for the month of February. The credits total $1,092,512. It's broken down by category and is inclusive of an insurance claim reimbursement of $450,000 for ferry dock damage. The debits total $790,903, and they are itemized in terms of where the monies went. Any questions so far?
No, this looks good.
Okay. We'll get into human resources. I know this is of great interest to the board, particularly recruitment and retention. So we'll go through this. For the, and this is the February report. We received 94 applications. There were 20 that were not qualified. 2 offers were extended. There was 1 new hire for the month. The vacancies per department is still in progress of calculating those stats, but will be ready by board meeting. These are 2 additional slides that I added to the presentation, and what this does, it just gives you a status of the applications by position title as to where the application is. We have currently 10 in processing with B&B. We are awaiting applicant information on 10 applications, and that's broken down by position class. There were 20 applicants that we were unable to contact, and follow-up will be ongoing. Next page, please. We have 21 applications that are pending interviews. The department managers are in the process of scheduling interviews, and we had 4 post-interview rejections. Our retention strategies, the focus remains on staff training and development, leadership training and development, and team building. Our Cat Cares initiatives continue with our Fresh Fruit Fridays, bringing in educational sessions to enhance employee knowledge regarding estate planning, financial literacy. We are planning an additional health fair in the upcoming months. Our lunch and learn sessions continues. We continue to plan employee fun days and how to better our retirement plan investment.
Yes.
Our wellness program, as I mentioned, every Friday, bringing in fresh fruit to all of the break rooms within the building and over at the ITC. The lunch and learn that was held on February 28th was He Said, She Said, the importance of effective communication. And we have diabetes health plan for March 20th, 2024, another lunch and learn session. The goal is to really address the needs of the whole employee, and Chatham Area Transit Authority has made a great commitment to meeting those objectives. Are there any questions?
No, I think this is a great program. I really do.
If there are no questions, Dr. Robinson, did you have any questions?
Is she
Dr.
still with
Robinson?
us?
Thank you. If not, no other question, that concludes my report.
Okay, so we're going to go to the administrative services presentation.
Good afternoon, directors. Stone.
Good afternoon.
It's a pleasure to speak with you this afternoon, and to the listening audience as well. I have a very brief report this month, and I'm going to get right into it. And I'm going to begin with some information on the accident summary report with respect to safety, security, and risk management. This is one of the traditional charts that I've been sharing with you. And this particular time around, this one reflects 5 preventable accidents. And all of these were off-site. And if you'll look into the description, I won't read every one, but you can see what types of accidents these were. There were 4 fixed route and 1 paratransit during this reporting period. And for the non-preventable accidents, there were also 5 of those as well. 3 for fixed route, 1 paratransit, and there was 1 that was related to the maintenance department. Next slide, please. Okay. My colleague has reported on the retention and recruitment efforts, so I didn't bother to go into that. We did have 1 officer that was hired, so 1 is better than none, of course, but as Ms. Cutter has also mentioned, we continue to recruit to try and bring in more and just deal with some of the issues that arise as candidates get recruited and invited in to interview. Some show up, some don't. That's just the reality of what we're having to deal with, but I'm glad to say that we as a team are continuing to try and bring that number up. So we have 1 for now. Hopefully we'll get some more and eventually get back to full staff in the coming months.
One thing we should mention, Mr. Sanders, before we leave this too, is to remind the board that we also, though, have, using contract services, have brought in some supplemental officers to support us during what will inevitably be the very busy St. Patrick's Day weekend, in terms of safety and security, particularly around the ITC. And then, of course, we will be continuing to work with the board on having those kind of on-call services available so that as they're needed in these times of while we're still hiring officers or when we have these special events, those kinds of contract opportunities will still be available, like I said, only if and when they're needed.
Gotcha.
Thank you, Ms. Maxwell. Next slide, please. This slide contains information on training department updates, and as I've typically done here over the past month or 2, I'd like to share with you.
Sorry, but can everybody else hear him? I can't.
I can hear.
I
Speak.
can't.
You say you still can?
No, I don't hear anything.
Dr. Robinson, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, thank you. As I was saying, this is the training department updates, and I'd like to begin with sharing with you retraining information. This is primarily in the operations area, so when drivers have an accident, they're required to go through mandatory retraining. This is one of the few months that, at least since I've been here, where we don't have any accidents reported for the month of February. So that's a good thing and certainly a trend that we'd like to maintain. The next item is planned, agency-wide training. As you know, we have training for the operators. We also have training that is sort of open and more universal to the staff. I think Ms. Cutter mentioned financial literacy. That is a big one that I think that our employee population would like to get information on, more information on rather. And so as one of our upcoming classes, we're going to have consumer credit counseling come in. They have come and worked with us in the past, and so we're going to get them to come in again this year, very soon, to do a couple of classes for everybody. So that means operators can come, admin staff can come. This is one that I think will be a popular class. So that one is up and coming. And under other training and policy revisions, I've mentioned this previously, but we have begun our effort to really get into the meat of updating the CDL driver training syllabus. The training has been being done with the past two classes and classes before that. But in collaborating with Dr. Manny, one of the things that the staff felt was that we needed to do a better job of taking the training and documenting it in a way such that, you know, as people come and go, that training, those training documents will be consistent. And so that's what this effort is all about. The last item on this page is we have some new recruits that have come in. At this point in time, we have 3 people in the fixed route training program. We have another 6, maybe 7, as I understand it, that will be coming in later on in the month, potentially. They're going through the background check process. There's also 3 of them which we expect to be in the paratransit part of the training, and they're also going through background checks right now. That generally takes a couple of weeks, so we expect to hopefully have all 9 of them in class before the end of the month. Next slide, please. Okay, and that is all of my report, and if anyone has any questions, I'll try to answer them. Other than that, that will take care of my report for this month.
Good report. Mr. Massimo? Mr. Massimo? Can y'all hear me?
I'm
Helen, I
sorry,
can hear you.
Director Stone, it was I had swapped microphones with Mr. Sanders when.
Okay, well,
yeah.
I'm gonna let this gentleman in to help me with my leak. So I'm gonna keep listening, but I'm gonna let him in, okay?
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start working through the other, the proposed action for board approval by other business units. As we typically do, we walk through those items in these meetings, both to give line of sight, transparency to the members of this committee and to what other committees are going to be discussing, but also to the public that's listening to this particular committee. So
Okay.
under the action items.
So I'm gonna be on, but I'm gonna be muted.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Under the action items, there are no action items proposed under operations, under finance and compliance, or under the administrative services unit. There are 2 grant application submissions that will be coming forward under the Planning, Development, and Infrastructure Services Committee. There's the 5310, which is a grant that is for mobility of seniors and individuals with disabilities. Again, the FTA Section 5310 program, and then another, the 5339C, which is a grant application for FY24 low or no emission grant program. So both of those would be used to continue the needs that we have under both of those programs. Under old and new business, there were a number of tabled items that will be coming back before the board. Security policies and procedures, the item that is tabled on the ITC interior renovation. In working with FTA, the age of the grant, it was an older grant, but we did have I think, additional continuation of that grant that we found out is available to us for where we're extending it for another year. Beverly has sent out a complete package to the board. I believe it was last week. Is that right, Ms. Dumas? on the 29th, send a complete package out to the board for you to review and offer comments over the next several weeks. And as soon as we get those comments, though, it's going to be in order to now be in compliance with the extension that we're going to be given. We need to go ahead and finalize that input and then get it back to the Pond, who is the architect design firm, to complete that. But we're glad to have that opportunity to extend from that lapse date for a bit of time to give us time to get the board's extremely valuable input included.
Mr. Massimo, can I ask one request of this committee, and that would be anybody that has concerns, can they get those to the staff prior to the board meeting?
Beverly there's a date that's set forth in March the 21st is the date that we've requested that input be provided back. And so that gave the board about 3 weeks from the time it was provided to the time that it needed to be in.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. And then the last item is just document standard and staff summary template. Again, there was some time at the last board meeting, additional time that was requested for review of that. So all those tabled items will be brought back for consideration. And with that, the last item is that our next board meeting will be on March the 26th, and we turn it back over to you, Director, for adjournment or any other questions that may be had.
Director Stone, I don't have any questions. Would you like me to adjourn the meeting?
That would be great.
Okay. Thank you so much, staff, and we consider this meeting adjourned.
Thank you, Dr. Rob.